Welcome to my rhubarb patch.
Quite the patch. You want it to be quieter, don't you?
Today in GardenFork, I'm going to show you how to grow rhubarb like we do it while the mosquitoes are biting me. All right, ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
Make, fix, grow, cook. GardenFork.
I have my notes, so we're ready, okay?
Your cheat sheet.
Wear gloves. There's a bunch of stinging nettles in our rhubarb patch, so I was pulling them up without my gloves on. And then these are stinging nettles, by the way. And along here, it'll sting your hand.
Don't we eat those sometimes?
Yeah, you can eat these. We have a whole video about that. They're delicious.
Wear your gloves.
So you've gone to the store and you've bought a rhubarb plant. I think this is the best way to start rhubarb. Some people started from seed and it's kind of a fun experiment. But if you want rhubarb, buy rhubarb plants. They're fairly inexpensive. There are green stem and red stem rhubarb. The taste isn't really that much different. It's just a color thing. Americans seem to like red rhubarb. I have mainly green rhubarb here, but that's American to me. So. So when you're thinking about where to plant your rhubarb, actually a raised bed is a really good place. We have a couple of raised bed videos, links are below. A raised bed chock full of manure and compost and garden soil, and you're good to go. Rhubarb's really low maintenance. You don't want to give it a lot of fertilizer. You don't want to cultivate it too much. Plant it, a time release fertilizer, I have some here somewhere, and top dressing it with compost and cow manure or horse manure, and you're good to go. And it loves sun. So in this bucket here, I have a mix of compost and some really aged cow manure and some Labradors. Be sure you're using aged cow manure or horse manure. We happen to have a special source of this where the farm is, where our beehives are. They have cows as well, so we can go down there and get our aged cow manure.
Why aged?
You want it to be aged because fresh cow manure is way too what's called hot, and it'll burn your plants. If it's aged, like a year, it's allowed to cool off nitrogen-wise, and it'll really help your plants.
Would you like some cow manure?
She wants a tennis ball.
She went fresh cow manure. All right, what's next?
Labradors like to roll in cow manure. So you want to think about where you're going to plant it, because this is a permanent thing. They're perennial plants that come up in the spring. In most of North America, you harvest it once or twice going into early summer. In the northwest corner of the states, you can get 2 harvests out of it in the fall. But, I mean, we're in the northeast, so...
You mean one in the spring and one in the fall?
Right. So we have our plant. You're going to want to keep it 3 feet from your other plants because they get big. So I'm going to go 3 feet, 3 feet. Boom, right here.
Wait, what was that 3 feet thing you just did?
I just kind of guesstimated 3 feet from the other plants, and I picked here.
So this is a good time to plant too because it's cool out, right? And it likes cool?
It's not too hot, so it's a perfect time to plant. It's going to rain soon. Rhubarb likes warm weather, but the best time to plant it is in the spring. Also, if you're going to divide your plants, the best time is in the early spring as well. Rhubarb, when it gets to be about 5 years old, it starts to get kind of old, and that's when it's time to divide it. This is grown from a division here. So that's a little plant that's starting. I've got a little time release fertilizer. I'm going to put that like a tablespoon in the bottom of the hole there. And then I'm going to take this and turn it upside down. I'm grabbing the plant carefully. I'm not going to break this open because it's not really root bound. And I like the plant to be slightly below the soil, the existing soil level, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take some of our compost and horse manure, or cow manure, and shove it down into the sides. You want to press the soil in around the root ball. Then I'm going to build a little moat around the newly made hole, a little wall to hold the water in when we water. So I take the soil that we took out of the plant and I make a little wall around the plant like this. So then we can fill it up with water and the water stays in and doesn't run off.
It's like a moat.
That's the whole idea. See that we fill this up, and because of the little wall we built, the water stays next to the plant and soaks into the roots.
Genius.
Aren't you impressed? So just a little more time release fertilizer. Not on the leaves, ideally. Knock it off the leaves. Water this in, and you're good to go.
When can we harvest that rhubarb?
I would not harvest from this plant for a couple of years. You want the thing kind of booming, like this guy over here. And that brings us to our next part of our video, is to how to harvest rhubarb. I think a lot of people do it the wrong way. You basically just want to grab the base of the stem and pull it out. And we'll try and show this with the camera, okay? So my hand goes around the base, my thumb is down here, and I pull like that, and the whole thing comes out. I think this is a lot healthier for the plant. A lot of people just kind of clip it, and that doesn't work for me. There is a thing about rhubarb leaves. They do have oxalic acid in them, which is poisonous, but it's not like deadly poisonous. You'd have to eat 5 kilograms of rhubarb leaves to have a lethal dose of oxalic acid.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot. Is that 2.5 pounds, 5 kilograms? I'll put it in the thing right here.
I have no idea.
But anyway, so you cut off this, and then you have your rhubarb stalk ready to go. We have a couple recipes for making stuff with rhubarb. A couple of videos, the links are in the show notes here.
Are we eating rhubarb tonight?
I don't know. Rhubarb by nature is kind of tart. You know, it's also very fibrous, so it is a laxative, if you want that. Wow.
You knew better.
I know, but I wanted to taste it anyway. That is tart. But it's good with a little bit of sugar in like a dessert or a sauce.
And ice cream.
And pork. It's really good with pork, believe it or not.
And ice cream.
Yeah. In your 3 to 5 year range, when this thing becomes a giant rhubarb plant, you can divide it and have more plants or give them away to your friends. It also reinvigorates the plant, causing it to put out more stalks, which is a good thing. I'm not going to do this, but I'll show you where I would put the shovel. You want a sharp shovel. Take a file and sharpen this puppy. And then, do you see right in the center here, there's kind of a natural opening?
Yeah, well.
So I would move these stalks to this side, move that stalk to that side, and I would go right here. You are going to cut some stalks, but you're dividing in half.
Is there a lot of root there?
It's a massive root thing. I don't know what else to call it. It's a big root thing.
Is it a ball or is it like long?
It's like a mass. It's like a gnarly mass. That's what it is.
All right.
And you want to cut through that, and you could pull both halves out or leave one half in and just move one half, and you reinvigorated the plant. Side dress with some aged manure, water them in again, and you're good to go. If your rhubarb starts to flower, this is kind of a small version of it. Sometimes it's a big stalk. You want to take that stalk off because you're taking energy away from making rhubarb for eating. These guys are making rhubarb for seed. So I just reach all the way down to the bottom of the plant and rip that off and put that in your compost pile. Oops. Can I have a kiss? All right, there you go. More information on rhubarb and other videos. The links are below. Also in the eye in the sky, that little dot, you can click on that. And let me know your thoughts about growing rhubarb or other questions in the comments below. We put out new eclectic DIY videos every week. If you want to subscribe, and make it a great day. All right?
Eat rhubarb.
All right.